very early this morning, and I would like to thank you for coming to visit the YouTube channel. And I want to give a big shout out to my cousins, the Baltimore Massicot cousins. Hi everybody, nice to see you. And the Blancan cousins, especially Philippe. I hope you get a chance to see them. And I would also like to give a big shout out to my cousin Frayne, who is spending a great deal of time putting information about the Frain on so we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'm going to send you on to the rest of the video. So, as always, if you would like to review my services, please go ahead and click the link in the show notes at the bottom of the page. And this video happens to be the second in the series of Ancestral Power Places for spring 2017. And this video covers Charleston. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few people that I'm researching where I'm looking for more documentation to show information that we don't have. And if you happen to be related to Pierre Blancan or Catherine Eugenia Blancan Massicot or Guillaume Massicot or Rene Roche Duche or Pierre Fayolle, please feel free to watch the rest of the video and contact me. I would love to get some information from you and add it to our tree. And any documentation we have, we are happy to share with you. So those links to the tree will be also in the show notes. And so we're going to go ahead and go on with the rest of the video.
To determine whether a place is an ancestral power place, you actually need to identify some research problems. So this video is for the spring 2017 ancestral power places, and the location is going to be in Charleston, South Carolina. And what I mean by power places, those are places that you can actually see, touch, feel, know that your ancestor resided, lived, did something special in. And so for this, we're actually going to start focusing on the individuals that were resident in Charleston. The purpose for this trip is to focus on Pierre Blancan, Pierre Fayolle, Guillaume Massicot, and Rene Roche Duche. And so also while I'm there, I'm going to locate any Frayne surname, and that's for a surname project. The first individual I'm going to focus on is Pierre Blancan. Pierre was born about 1765 in France, and the location isn't known. He married Pauline Gelibert on 29 August 1792 at St. Pierre Paroisses in Bordeaux, and that's part of Gironde and Aquitaine, France. And he died on 10 June 1813 in Philadelphia. So Pierre and Pauline had 4 known children. Catherine, which is my direct ancestor, Pierre, whose children mostly resided in Paris, France after, I want to say about 1850, and then Jean-Baptiste Blancan, and then an unknown female Blancan. And Jean-Baptiste and the unknown female, we have not been able to locate any information on. Pierre may have been a captain or a ship's captain of the young Isaac. However, there was also another Pierre that was a captain that resided in France and was martyred. So we're not sure, it's not very clear at this juncture whether our Pierre is the same as this ship's captain of the young Isaac. So we're hoping to find some information there. He was a resident in Charleston in 1802. He had a mechanical theater called by various names, and it was brought over from France. And there's some real special information about that, and at some point in time I may share that. However, Ryan Howard, a premier author about puppetry in America, he's conducted a great deal of research on different types of puppet theaters, and he's put out several articles and books regarding that. So if you want more information about puppetry, please look Ryan Howard up. He has his own website, and he's an excellent source for puppetry. So back to Pierre. Pierre was known to have been associated with Pierre Fayolle, who was a famous dance master in Charleston. And he was known to be a silversmith, a turner of metals, and a master tinkerer before his death in Philadelphia. And he may or may not have been related to Rene Roche Duche. I've done quite a bit of research on Pierre Fayolle. It's not known whether he was a relative to Pierre Blancan or not. He was born about 1768 in Rion, Gironde-Aquitaine, France, and died before 1 November 1834 in South Carolina. He arrived in the United States before 1795 and may have been from Santo Domingo or part of the Haitian Revolution. He was a famous Charleston dance master and teacher. It is known that he was a co-originator of the Spectacle Picturesque Mécanique in Charleston in 1807. And again, we don't know whether there's any relationship to Pierre Blancan or not. Guillaume, or William Massicot, was the husband of Catherine Eugenia Blancan, and that is the daughter of Pierre Blancan. Now, Guillaume was born on 22 January 1775 in Bayonne-sur-Gironde. That was in Aquitaine, France. He arrived in the United States between 1803 and 1809. That time frame is not solid, not clear. There is no definitive evidence as to when he did arrive. So we'll look at that in a few minutes. He married Catherine Eugenia Blancan on 22 May 1813 in Philadelphia and died 21 May 1847. We know he had several children with Catherine Eugenia, and he is also a very, very interesting person. We know that William was a captain of at least 10 ships and an owner and had built several more ships. He may have been a French privateer, but there are no letters of marque, so that pretty much tells us that we're going to have to dig some more on that. We don't know what ship he actually owned or sailed at that point in time. He was many, many, many years older than Catherine, and he continued to sail until he was 72 years old. And because of the Philadelphia marriage and occupation, it can be presumed that he too may have lived in Charleston or at least visited the city prior to the 1813 marriage. And, you know, because Pierre Blancan may have been a ship's captain, we want to look into that information. Rene Roche Duche was born about 1756 in Rouen, which is in Normandy. He married Françoise Eleanor Sebastier on 12 June 1779, and he died on 29 April 1824 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He had 3 daughters, so no male heirs of his line at all whatsoever. We're going to take a look at his information in just a second here. Now, Rene Roche Duche was the witness to the marriage of Charles Lucien Bonaparte's sister at Philadelphia, in the same church Pierre Blancan's daughter was married. his daughter Francios was the witness to the marriage of Catherine Virginia to William Massicot. Rene later became a bonded person in the estate of Pierre Blancan. And from 1814 to 1819, Rene is missing in the Philadelphia city directories and may or may not have gone to Charleston. And so as a silversmith, he may have been close to Pierre either by marriage or relationship or just simply because of the fact that they were both silversmiths. As with any research trip, you want to find out where the documentation is stored at. So before you make that trip, take some time and go to Family Search Wiki and look for the city that you're looking in. And one of the first things you should look at is any historical society, any library, any organization that is in the same location that you're going to be at that may house records. And the next thing you want to do is go to their website, review what records they have, and then send them an email. So, I hope today to get a form letter that you can copy and paste into your email that will help you just quickly do the request from the libraries or the societies that will help you obtain information prior to your departure. Here we're going to focus on the problems or the research problems that we have. So one of the first problems is that there's newspaper articles from Genealogy Blank that shows a Captain Blancan arriving in Charleston in 1788. He then accepts freight for shipping before 6 October 1788 and then departs Charleston. So one of the things we want to look for are there any remaining maritime or shipping records in Charleston that will help us determine if this is the same Pierre Blancan as Captain Blancan. We'd also want to look at those because Guillaume was also a ship's captain, so perhaps shipping records or maritime records would show that Guillaume was actually in Charleston. The other thing we want to look at or look for, which is going to be really difficult because Charleston records, their naturalization records aren't really available. So Pierre Blancan is mentioned in Catherine Blancan Massicot's passport application in May of 1851. And she stated at that time that he had been a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1801 in Charleston. So he doesn't appear in Brent Holcomb's naturalizations in South Carolina. So we want to know what other sources are there that we can consult. Where are they located at? So research problem number 3 is that Pierre appears in 1802 in the Charleston City Directory on 195 King Street. That's the first actual mention of his residency in the United States. So we want to know, does this building still exist? If so, what's the history of the building? Are there any other city directories that mention Pierre prior to 1802? And we want to know, did he own it? Did he just rent it? Was it part of church lands? And we want to visit it. We want to touch it. We want to see it. We want to smell it. We want to feel it. Because that is an ancestral power place. We know that on 22 November 1806, Pierre is back in Bordeaux. And at that point in time, he had applied for a passport to return to his wife in Charleston. So how long was Pauline in the United States without her husband? That passport does not mention any of the children. So there is some historical background that you kind of want to have in regards to this particular record. Is that in that time frame, Napoleon Bonaparte had maintained or obtained control of France and was kicking out all of the French revolutionaries and resetting everything. And when he was doing that, he was limiting the ability of the national citizens. And France was at war with several different nations. So keep that in mind, because he may not have mentioned the children, and he may not have mentioned them, or really his wife, because he did not want them, the French, to know that he was a naturalized U.S. citizen. And there is another question in this aspect, is just keep that in mind. On 22 November 1806, he is back in Bordeaux, and we'll look at that in a few minutes. And so also in 1806, he is residing on 89 Queen Street, according to the Charleston City Directory. So again, another power place. And there is something very interesting about this address as well, because it is known that Pierre Fayolle had two residences rented or parted out through the church, and 88 Queen Street was one of them. So this address is right next door to Pierre Fayolle's dance hall or recital hall. So on 5 April 1808, there's a notice for letters remaining at the post office in Savannah, Georgia. So we want to know, did Pauline and the children remain in Charleston? Were those letters actually from Pauline and the kids? And we may never know that, but we can find evidence that Pauline did remain in Charleston when Pierre Blancan was gone. About that same time, a benefit is held for Miss Blancan at the Vauxhall Gardens. And we want to know how much of that garden remains today. Are there any additional records that can be retrieved? Are there any playbills? What else can we learn about those garden shows? And one of the problems for this slide is that receipt for payment for the theatrical license in Savannah was taken, and it was that for the time frame of April 15th or April 5th in 1808, when those letters were remaining at the post office. So we want to see, is there any theatrical playbills or records or mention or notice that the theater had actually gone to Savannah, and that would confirm that one little bit of information. Now, by September 1808, Pierre has several letters that are remaining in the post office in Charleston. And it's presumed that at that time he moved his puppet show to the Columbian Museum in New York. And what we want to do there is we want to confirm whether Pierre and Pauline both went together, or did Pauline remain, or, you know, there's some questions as to whether the family moved with the theater or whether the theater moved on its own. And so the next research problem is that the first mention of the theater picturesque at Mechanique appeared in Charleston in May 1807. And that time, the notice in the newspapers was showing that it was at the dance hall of Pierre Fayolle. So what were the real origins of the theater picturesque at Mechanique? Did Blancan bring it back from France when he returned in 1806? Since previous to that, Pierre Fayolle didn't have any mentions of puppet theater at all in the newspapers in that time frame. So we want to know who owned Picturesque at Mechanique. Now, again, we don't know if Guillaume or Rene Roche Duche were ever in Charleston. We just want to conduct short research to verify or really prove that they were or were not. And while I'm there, I'm also going to do any collateral lines for the Frain surname or the Frain surname project. And here I want to give a big Highland, again, thank you so much for providing extra documentation for the Frains in Ireland and Canada. And I also want to give a big shout out to Michael Frayne, who resides in Ireland. He's conducted a lot of research and is trying to get the Frains, all of the Frains, together at one site to add their information. So if you want to look for him, look for the Frayne Surname Project, and I will be adding additional Frayne information onto my website. And once again, check the show notes below. I will be adding links there that you can look at the individuals. And again, if you're related, I'd love to talk to you, but this is generally a video that will show individuals how or what kind of research questions and to look at prior to their departure for their ancestral power places. So I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of what's left of this short little spring, and I will look forward to posting more videos about this research.